So this was the personal statement that I sent in for the 2024 entry admission cycle for veterinary medicine, and I'm currently starting veterinary medicine at the University of Nottingham later this month. So I thought, why not share my veterinary medicine personal statement? So hopefully it might inspire those of you who are applying this year and are a bit stuck since the admission entry deadline is soon approaching. So my first paragraph started off with something that really inspired me when I went to work experience at a veterinary clinic, and I think something that they really care about in vet med application cycles is the fact that how much work experience have you done, how much super curriculars have you done, how many books have you read, how many TV shows relating to veterinary medicine have you seen. So they really want you to apply to veterinary medicine, not just because you've got good grades, but also because you're actually really interested in the career, and you'll be able to take part in the hardships that occurred throughout the years as well. So this was something that I saw that really shocked me. It was the head vet working day and night because the local hospital had closed down, so she had a lot of cases that she had to attend, and there were no other vets that work at night over there. So she was basically literally working day and night the whole week, without a rest. And that was something like, oh, when I set up my own practice when I'm older, this is the sort of life that I'm going into. Will I be ready for that? So that was something that I did talk about in my interviews as well. I did get asked about it in my interviews as well. So for your first paragraph, maybe do something that particularly inspired you. It can be a book, it can be a particular incident that happened, it could be why did you come into vet med in the first place, but essentially something that sort of stands out for you. Same with the last paragraph as well. The second paragraph was work experience. So I actually, when I went to India, it was just a holiday, it wasn't work experience or anything like that. When I went, it was a village obviously, so it was surrounded by farms, and there was a veterinarian who was visiting the cows, so I was like, can I please just like shadow you while you're here? So I did, and he basically sort of took me around the village where I just shadowed him. It wasn't like official work experience or anything, so I didn't get like a letter of reference or anything like that because it wasn't official. But it was really enjoyable. So I thought it doesn't matter if it's official or not because it was only over a few days. I'll still include it in my personal statement, and I did get asked about it. I think I spoke about 5 to 7 minutes about this particular topic in my Nottingham interview, which is definitely really useful. The third paragraph, so I will move it a bit up. So my third paragraph was essentially the same thing. It was also work experience, and this was something where I did a riding stable. I think I was there for about a whole month after my year 11 summer, and a bit after year 12 summer as well. So I think I incorporated a lot of stuff into it. I incorporated euthanasia. I incorporated essay competitions that I did, and it was all surrounding euthanasia because euthanasia is such a huge topic in veterinary medicine that I think a lot of people aren't ready for it when they do get into the profession later on. Some of the vets told me when people see euthanasia cases, they start considering whether the vet profession is really for them. So this was something that I knew would really spark an interest in the interviews later on if I do get asked about it. I didn't really get asked about it Actually, I did get asked about it in one of my other interviews for one of my other vet schools. But it was definitely something that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to show that if it does come to it, then that is the better option than to let the animal suffer. I also took part in a lot of essay competitions. I took part in the Cambridge essay competition. I took part in the Medic Mentors essay competition. So these are something that you can definitely get involved as well when you're in year 11, year 12, even year 13 if you are taking gap year like me. So it was all surrounding similar topics. So obviously I mentioned that because there's no point doing all these super curricular activities if you're not going to mention it like anywhere in your admission cycle. So do mention as much as you can within that short span of words. The fourth paragraph was again on my village time in India. Now, I was in India for literally a whole month and it was in a village. So obviously there were loads of animals that I was surrounded. There was cows, there's sheep, there's just a lot of animals around me. There were peacocks there, which I don't see here in London at all. So assisting a goat giving birth. Because I live in the city, I barely see farm animals. So when I went there, it was something really interesting and something that really fascinated me. So I did mention what I did in the process while I was there, instead of just watching it, how I helped out, how I helped the farmer out, how I helped the vet out. I did mention all that. Again, I did mention another essay, which is the medic mentors essay, where I talked about the different reproductive tracts in different animals. So like I said, do mention a lot of super curriculars, because that's what they're interested in more than your exam grades. Getting the right exam grades and getting into vet school is just one out of the many different hurdles that you have to cross. They're not really concerned about that, because many people can get those A's and A stars or B's or whatever you need, but not a lot of people can endure the hard, long hours of rain and dusty weather and all that, and do work experience, especially wherever you can find it, because it's quite hard to find work experience when you're like 15 and 16. And a lot of people, they're a bit skeptical when letting you do work experience there, right? Because obviously it's an extra workload for them. So universities love seeing what you've actually learned, instead of just looking and seeing vets do random things. They want you to ask questions. They want you to actually reflect what you would do if you're in that scenario. So that's basically what I did over there in that paragraph. Now I come to the sixth form paragraph. Let me put it a bit up. So my next paragraph was about my time in sixth form. So I was head student in year 12, in particular the environment. So I spoke about what I did there, leadership qualities, teamwork qualities. They're really important when you're a veterinarian. You have to lead a team of other vet students, nurses, animal care assistants. So you need to be really good at leadership qualities, but at the same time you need to be able to work as a team. So teamwork skills are also really important, and you need to be able to juggle both. So that was something that I really did mention about in my personal statement. So obviously I've been being part of Eco Day since like year 6, I think. That's when I was head of environment for the first time, and then since then I've always made sure I take that post, because wildlife and environment was something that I was in particular very interested in, very fond of. So I made sure to mention that in my personal statement. So there's no point, like I said, doing all this if the universities are not going to even know about it. So do mention and try to put yourself in the best position as much as possible. Cyber mentor was something that a lot of people can think it's not really relevant to vet med and all that, but it is really important. You need to be emotionally available to all your staff. Being in vet med is a very tough profession. So, and it also has the highest suicidal rate. So you need to show empathy towards your fellow vets, towards your fellow vet students. You need to always support each other, because at the end of the day you're all trying to do one thing, and that's to make sure animals get a better lifetime, a better quality of life, I think it's a better word to say. So you need to make sure that they always want to help people. So I tried putting that into my personal statement and showing experience of what I've already done. So that was being a cyber mentor at school. And then I mentioned a lot of books I read. So I love reading books. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge bookworm. So I basically read any vet med related books that I can put my hands on. So I mentioned what I read, how I reflected after I read them. So make sure you write notes. A lot of people don't write notes on their work experience placements, so make sure you write notes and actually reflect on them rather than just reading them. Articles is another good thing. So as you can see, if I move to the side, I read an article. I read a research in an article, and I mentioned that as well. And I don't think I got asked about it in my interviews, but it's definitely something useful to know about, I think, and to be better prepared from. At the time of application, I was the president of Vet Mentor, which is part of Medic Mentors. So I talked about how I led the team, what I did, what my role and responsibility was, and my teacher actually got a reference from them, and she included it in her reference as well. So that's definitely something you guys can look into. Leadership roles are really, really good. Let me just move out the way. There you go. My last paragraph was literally just a closing paragraph. It was just putting all my previous paragraphs together and literally just summarizing it. So good luck for your application process, and hope this helps.